As we head into the new year, a federal election is looming. Joining us now to weigh in on the political fortunes of Stephen Harper, Justin Trudeau, and Tom Mulcair, we have political consultant Michael Geoghegan here. He's in Victoria, BC. Thanks for joining us, Michael.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about some of the issues that really will factor into the 2015 election, starting with Canada's fight against ISIS. How do you think Harper's handling of this will affect his standing in the next election? How are Canadians viewing him?
Well, I think with regards to dealing with ISIS, which is a completely repugnant organization, I think it actually helps him in terms of his political standing. Clearly, as a leader, he is seen as the one that is the most decisive in dealing with this scourge. And whereas you know, some of the comments that have come from Liberal leader Justin Trudeau and NDP leader Mulcair have seen much more wishy-washy on the subject.
Justin Trudeau facing a lot of criticism over his position against Canada launching an air combat mission against ISIS. That's a key issue for him. How will this affect him then?
Well, I think it's one of those things where, you know, he comes across in a very personable way. There's been some missteps, including, you know, his comment about Harper whipping his CF-18s out, which was seen as juvenile and not very professional, certainly not prime ministerial. And so it's a thing where the challenge for him is to come across with having, you know, in a more serious, more gravitas kind of way on international issues. And I think it's a situation where when dealing with the Middle East, which is complicated at all times and usually tragic, you know, do you have the perspective to make the tough decisions and stick with the tough decisions? And certainly, you know, keeping ISIS in check is certainly something that that we need to do. Unfortunately, you know, in terms of civilization.
And so, which leader do you think comes out on top when it comes to this issue?
Well, clearly, right now, Prime Minister Harper does, and like I say, in terms of Justin Trudeau and in terms of Mulcair, you know, they're in a difficult situation because you know, they want to be seen as, you know, advocating you know, peace and other things that we're all in favor of. But unfortunately, when you've got these extremely violent organizations that are bent on mayhem and death and destruction, you know, how are you going to deal with that if you're prime minister or if you're part of a coalition government? And that's where they need to clearly articulate their position, not just, well, you know, we're upset that this unpleasantness has to happen.
Let's turn and talk about the Duffy trial. How might that change the timing of the election?
Well, you know, there was some speculation that Prime Minister Harper might go to a spring election in order to avoid the trial. Certainly, Mike Duffy has done what he can in order to speed up the process to ensure that the trial does take place before the scheduled October 2015 election. So, I mean, it is a huge wild card event. The speculation is that Senator Mike Duffy will have some bombshells to drop. On the other hand, the fact that it looks like Prime Minister Harper is sticking to the October agenda means that the Prime Minister is willing to, you know, deal with that situation when and if it arises. But again, it's a huge wild card. It could be of tremendous benefit to the opposition parties.
Can we expect then, in some way, to see a snap election?
I think the chances. I think the chances of that are right now remote. I think the messaging that I'm hearing from within conservative circles is that everything is gearing towards an October election. You never know, though. Certainly the opposition parties are getting ready for a potential snap election, but I would say right now the odds are running clearly in favor of a fall election.
Okay, political consultant Michael Geoghegan joining us from Victoria, BC. Thanks.
Thank you.